So I noticed that many of my subscribers, new ones included, shout outs to all of you who've subscribed to me in the past month or so, really like the top list video. Well, as much work as they are, I actually kind of miss doing them, so as an added bonus, since it's been a while since I've done one, I'm actually going to take it a step further and do a top 15 this time. Seeing that I haven't really put out anything along the lines of a About Me video, and seeing that you all know I like fighting games, let's kinda hit all these points with one shot. So I present to you my top 15 all-time favorite fighting game characters. For this list, I'll be strictly focusing on characters that originated and debuted in fighting games. So, as much as I love characters like Deadpool and Ghost Rider of Marvel Comics, and Starfire and Cheetah of DC Comics, they're not gonna be here because they first appeared in comics. And who knows, could be another top list for another time. Also, if you have any suggestions for a top list, feel free to shoot me an idea in the comments section. So, let's do this. Tao Kaka. Along with Kokonoe, I've always said that Tao Kaka is a playable character that has never failed to make me laugh. In every game she's been in, she's said or done something that has caused me to audibly start tripping out.
Tao is Tao Kaka Mew! I came from over there!
Tao Kaka Meow. That's an unusual name. But, what do you mean by over there? Could you point in that direction?
No, Mew! Tao is Tao Kaka Mew!
Tao Kaka Meow? Ah, I see. So your name is Tao Kaka. Anyway, I still don't know what you mean by over there. Could you be a little more specific?
Over there!
While the nicknamer trope isn't exactly a new concept, Tao Kaka's unique charm and goofiness is bound to make you smile, especially with the invigorating tone in which she addresses Lychee.
It's the movie lady! Yes, I'm coming!
Though Tao Kaka comes off pretty slow in the head, she's blisteringly fast on her feet. When playing her, it's hella fun to instill that fear into opponents. But when on the receiving end of her cartoonish claws, it's hella frustrating. Tao doesn't solely rely on her speed in battle. Like Faust and Shinko before her, she annoys opponents by chucking random items at them. Additionally, in battle, if you want to get another laugh from Tao Kaka, listen to her banter whenever she attacks Arakune. Even though we have yet to see her true face behind that shadow visage, there is no questioning that Tao Kaka is adorable. Her exuberance and bouncy demeanor make her immensely lovable. Also, Tao really loves to eat. I think many of us can relate to her. Cody Travers. I've always defined Cody as the embodiment of everything I think and feel on a bad day. Most people are boring and annoying. I just want to be left alone, and I wish I could chuck rocks, sand, or uppercut anyone that annoys me so hard that I cause a twister. Cody is undoubtedly one of the most dynamic characters in the Street Fighter series. On top of the fact that I do tend to favor anti-heroes more so over clean-cut pure heroes most of the time, it was cool to see Cody have quite the transition from the later into the former. After losing his girlfriend and being framed for crimes he didn't commit, he felt an all-time low and interpreted it as punishment for his good deeds to save Metro City. Now he fights for the thrill of fighting rather than for justice. I find it's kind of relatable in a way. It seems like one of those situations where you do all you can and it's never enough. Then when you hit past rock bottom, you reevaluate your perspectives and sometimes even change your ways, for better or worse. Additionally, Cody's nonchalant demeanor is yet another one of his defining features, as he backs it up similar to how most villains do. Clearly, he is beyond feared, if he's just able to break out of jail whenever he wants to, and there's clearly some beyond human strength he has, seeing he finds fun in fighting powerful non-human opponents. Given his use of items around him, including a trusty knife and pretty much being a brawler, Cody is Street Fighter's first actual Street Fighter. He's set to make a comeback in Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, and while I'm pretty much done and uninterested in that game now, I'm curious to see what the storyline for Cody is, given his new look, which seems to hint at him no longer being a convict. Elena. Equipped with a friendly, carefree, rhythm-driven, nature-loving personality, along with super cute looks and killer capoeira kicks, who wouldn't want to be her friend? Cody apparently. Elena is the first Street Fighter character to come from Africa, hailing from Kenya. Standing at approximately 6 feet, she's also the tallest woman in Street Fighter. You'll only get a glimpse of her full height when she walks, seeing that most of the time she's seen squatting in her signature capoeira stance and is usually low to the ground when executing attacks. She's also one of few Street Fighter characters with the ability to heal themselves, which more than likely drove opponents crazy. I've always had a thing for girls who are sweethearts, but are tough and tomboyish as well. And while Street Fighter has a few girls like this, Street Fighter's First Lady of the Motherland is definitely my favorite.
I want to travel. I want to see everything there is to see in the world. I want to meet people from every country there is. Finally, I have found what I've been searching for. For my next trip, I shall be going to Japan.
Maya.
You're not worthy prey.
Going out west from Africa to deep in the rainforests of South America, we have Maya. I was only 4 years old when I first saw Killer Instinct Gold and initially thought she was Orchid's Savage Jungle's sister or something. Additionally, I've always been a huge fan of DC Comics' Cheetah, as mentioned earlier, Minerva specifically. And I also had thought a bit about her when I first saw Maya. I mean, I know Maya isn't a mutate. I guess it was the outfit. Her 2013 redesign was a major makeover, and an awesome one at that. Out with the leopard skin savage outfit, and in with the Incan-style golden armor set, which gives her the appearance of an assassin. Sure, there is the retro costume, but I like her new default and the urban biker costumes more. Additionally, her daggers, now known as Temperance and Vengeance, have a prominent role in her backstory. They serve as symbols of an ongoing battle between ruthlessness and benevolence within Maya's heart. Nevertheless, I've always liked Huntress characters. The swiftness with which Maya attacks with her daggers pretty much had me internally saying, "I cut you!" with every combo. Maya also exhibits some dexterity with some ferocious footwork and flips. This, along with her revamped story, appearance, and sharp calculating demeanor, make her a cool character to me. Also, that finisher, her original one. Yamazaki. Ryuji Yamazaki is undoubtedly one of the most unique and insane brawlers in fighting games. While his all-black Yakuza-esque attire may appear simplistic and not all that special, that definitely isn't the case when it comes to him in combat. Yamazaki possesses one of the most unpredictable, disrespectful fighting styles ever. What style of fighting is it? It's literally named Personal Art of Combative Homicide. Yeah. This fighting style consists of an array of brutal techniques such as high-impact headbutts that cause explosions, to underhanded techniques such as repeatedly stomping the opponent into the ground and kicking dirt in their faces. Two of his signature moves include striking with his swift, elongated, serpent-like arms and reflecting chi projectiles back at the opponent after infusing his dark energy-tainted blood into it. Wow. It's also really cool how he manages to be so brutal while fighting roughly 90% of the time with one hand. That other remaining 10%? 2 words, Yanden Drill. Having many incarnations over many games, King of Fighters 14 did it justice if you ask me, with his level 2 version being my favorite.
Nothing to complain about. You win.
Carmine. A friend of mine introduced me to the anime fighter Under Night and Birth back when it was released for the PS3. At first glance, the character that stuck out to me was Carmine. Most of the time, the first character I find interest in the game becomes my favorite, and it surely was the case here. With his overall punk metal-esque attire and the malevolent demeanor he displayed, he seemed like the coolest character to me. His fighting style further made me fascinated with him. Armed with large darts, insane buzzsaw-like projectiles, and a slew of other special and normal moves with decent hitboxes, Carmine possesses incredible lockdown game. On top of the aforementioned moves, his Dissolve trait, which leaves puddles upon using certain moves, can empower his special moves, further allowing him to trap opponents. Several of these moves can drain Carmine's health upon usage. Upon reading more about him, I found out these wild energy projections in most of his attacks are a result of Carmine manipulating his own blood, an ability called Blood Spike. He even uses his blood to coat his hair, arms, and eyes red. The weaponized form of it is known as Rain Blood. This would explain to me why certain moves of his would deduct health from him. Luckily, he can also drain health from his opponents by use of his regular grab and his command grab. Another thing I really like about Carmine is his mystique and roguish nature. No one knows his real name. While he's aware of the conflict between the Lichtkreis and Amnesia, Carmine's like, screw them both. Like Yamazaki mentioned before him, he's maniacal, albeit without the goofiness, and that's always a plus for me. Orchid. She's got brains, brutality, and a rockin' body. As a youngin', I didn't understand her finishing move. When I asked my other cousin about it, she said something along the lines of, not until you're older. Also, I wondered how she didn't get dizzy doing all those spin kicks within a single combo. Once again with Killer Instinct, another character made me think of DC's Cheetah, that being the case with Orchid's iconic Fire Cat attack. In the 2013 version of Killer Instinct, there is an interesting spin on the Fire Cat gimmick as she calls in a herd of Fire Cat projectiles in Instinct mode. Also, this taunt is so smooth. Speaking of 2013 Killer Instinct, I love her redesign. They brought back her plasma Screamer sticks. Also, I like how her attire is more armored, and the night vision goggles were an extra cool touch, seemingly playing up the secrecy spy gimmick. While still attractive, I got somewhat of a dark, deadly beauty vibe from her. Maybe it's the darkness around her eyes or the fact that she doesn't smile much in the game. And even when she does, I still get similar vibes. I can appreciate that. A cold, dark aura mixed in with a badass beauty. You gotta love that combo.
One step closer to flushing out Ultra Tech.
Ino. Okay, I'll admit, she did frustrate me as Guilty Gear X2's final boss. No question there. Even with those rage-inducing memories, Ino still remains to be my favorite Guilty Gear character. Aside from the fact she's oozing with sex appeal, she has by far one of the most coolest gimmicks in fighting games. She's a magical, hell-raising heavy metal witch. She can shoot musical note projectiles from her skull-faced hat. The majority of Ino's other magical techniques involve usage of her guitar, Marlene. Couple of letters off from Marceline. Anyways, she emits magical projectiles by strumming it, producing damaging sonic waves. Marlene even enables Ino the ability to fly. Ino's usage of Marlene isn't solely limited to just magic. She sometimes uses it physically to bludgeon the opponent. She even has a dive kick-esque move where she descends down attacking with the neck of the guitar. Ino even goes as far as to grab and cut opponents with a guitar extension cord. Seriously, the woman is crafty. While her newer instant kill is super flashy, her X2 instant kill is by far the best. This just further shows Ino's got hella style, not just in appearance, but also in the way she fights. Julia Chang. Picking up where Mama Chang left off, Julia became a quick favorite of mine when she debuted in Tekken 3. Albeit she was given the rather stereotypical saving my village homeland storyline most Native American characters are given in fighting games, I found her design and the fact that she was a hard-hitting sweetheart to be pretty cool. On top of that, she's super studious. However, she kinda confused me seeing her fighting style was noted as Chinese martial arts, yet she had some wrestling moves randomly thrown in. Sure, most of said moves were grabs, but still? Well, apparently Namco decided to build off of that and had Julia adopt a luchador persona under the name JC, a play on her initials. What the gimmick lacked in name creativity made up for with pretty dynamic fighting moves. Sure, much of her Chinese martial arts are still there, but there's just as many pro wrestling moves this time around. Being a longtime pro wrestling fan in its numerous forms such as Lucha Libre, I always appreciate the inclusion of wrestling characters in fighting games. One thing I admire about Lucha Libre is the colorful, intricate, amazing designs of its masked wrestlers. As a kid, these aesthetics coupled along with their amazing ability made them look like real-life superheroes to me. Same could be said for JC. Her mask, outfit, and updated fighting style make it seem like she's totally embracing a different and stronger side of herself. While her default costume seems very much face-ish, I even kinda like the somewhat dark and mysterious, possibly more Rudo or heel Black Spider alternate outfit she had as well. It was eerie, but I still thought it was kinda cool. Frost. I miss her so much, man. For the record, I've never owned a PSP, so I missed out on that opportunity to play her in Mortal Kombat Unchained. Mortal Kombat Armageddon was an okay game to me, with the Conquest mode being its best feature in my opinion. The fighting engine, primarily the creative fatality feature, was a major letdown for me. Anyways, back to Frost. Excuse the ever so obvious and overdone pun, but she was so cool. I know she's to Sub-Zero what Sakura is to Ryu or what Yuri is to Ryo Sakazaki, so yeah, she's not super original. The majority of her moves are comparatively subpar versions of Sub-Zero's moves. Even with that fact, I still thought her ice daggers were pretty good. They had a pretty wicked design, and it always was fun impaling opponents in the kneecaps with them. NetherRealm Studios did a so-so job of contrasting her from Sub-Zero in terms of fighting style, making her more agile and deceptive. Ironically, the token deceptive technique she has is a teleport punch in Armageddon, which seems like it was adopted from longtime Sub-Zero rival Scorpion. Frost was among one of the better designs from the new wave of Mortal Kombat characters starting in Deadly Alliance. Her bio card describes her as a mysterious woman, insinuating that her origins are largely unknown. We do know, according to the Mortal Kombat X comic, that she was an orphan. Given her icy, spiky anime hair, perhaps she's secretly a Super Saiyan Blue? I'll stop. But yeah, the icy hair is a unique design touch. Speaking of designs, her alternate costume. My gosh. She looks deadly, yet pretty freaking cute. Here's to hoping she'll be playable in a future game, rather than just being relegated to a plot device. La Mariposa. A super intelligent, well-mannered, beautiful woman with a luchadora alias. Didn't we already cover this? While there have been several sources and fans that have compared her to Julia Chang because of said attributes, Lisa Hamilton, real name, had already donned the La Mariposa persona 7 years prior to JC's debut. Again, I love wrestling characters in fighting games. With that being said, Bass and Tina Armstrong were just so-so to me. Not bad, I just didn't gravitate immensely towards them. When La Mariposa came along, I took a shot at playing her and I was like, yes! Granted, she was pretty difficult to pick up off rip. I stuck to it like most of any other character I really admire. Her agile, crafty, unpredictable movements were just so insane. She's so much fun to watch, and as I mastered her, I would find myself getting hyped with roughly every single Hurricane Rana, dropkick, and high-flying move that connected. Also, one of her moves is the Asai DDT, a move innovated by one of my favorite all-time wrestlers, Ultimo Dragon. How could I not love this character? Similar to Julia Chang, La Mariposa has a few moves outside of her central lucha libre fighting style, dabbling a bit in capoeira. Lisa has a different personality, depending on what persona she assumes in battle. As La Mariposa, she reminds me of Elena and Christy Monteiro, being fun-loving, exuberant, and rhythm-obsessed. As Lisa, she is a lot more smooth and reserved. I admire this attention to detail, as opposed to how sometimes characters retain the same personality with different costumes and skins. Also, Lisa has hella style even when she isn't La Mariposa. Her black and gold Hollywood-esque outfit is my favorite. Parasol. When Skullgirls was first announced, I immediately took a liking to its unique 2D art style. While visually simplistic compared to the other incredibly bizarre Skullgirls characters, I liked the cool dark vibe I got from her. There's that again. Such vibes were further projected through her calm yet edgy voice, courtesy of Erin Fitzgerald, whom I was lucky to meet at DragonCon some years ago.
Damn it, she's too close. If I shoot the heart, she'll die in the explosion! other way then. Skullheart! I wish my sister will never become the Skull Girl!
Interestingly, she was the very first charge character I ever mained in a fighting game. Despite the fact that particular style wasn't generally to my liking, I was ever determined to learn it just because I wanted to main Parasol. Combos with her were always pretty fun, especially any that incorporated multiple stomps or doing multiple napalm shots. Speaking of, what an interesting weapon. A living umbrella named Krieg that would cry napalm tears that can explode after a few seconds or even on Parasol's command. Parasol could even pull a Mary Poppins with Krieg and float in the air. Parasol even tears a page from Captain Commando's book, as she even has her squad, the Egrets, at her side in battle as well. They can interrupt her mid-combat so she can extend combos, take a load of projectile shots for her, drive by to score a grab and drag on the opponent, drive by in masses to run the opponent over, and even shoot it out with her as well. Seriously, that level 3 is sick. Oh, and she even has her own personal sniper. This woman has a more than prepared for anything type of combat kit. This is all not to say she can't stand on her own, of course. She's a pretty capable fencer, and while she may not be well versed in taekwondo, kickboxing, capoeira, or any kick-based martial arts style, she can get some crazy range with those long legs of hers. Alex. Enter wrestling character number 3. Sure, Zangief was Street Fighter's original powerhouse wrestler, and while his spinning pile driver was something to be feared, Zangief always came off to me as kinda goofy. Some of his facial expressions and mannerisms invoked cackles from me rather than instilling fear. His spinning lariat just makes him look like a big buffed up ballerina. Alex, on the other hand, has much more of an edgy, cool factor to him. The face paint makes his mean mug all the more piercing and bloodthirsty. The scars on his shoulders give him an assassin-esque look. And I also may be in the minority when I say this, but I didn't mind his Street Fighter V look all that much. He kinda just looked like a grunge band to me. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't perfect, but, you know. His moves always looked crisp and devastating, be it his powerbomb, his German suplex, or his stunning headbutts. Most of the time, powerhouse characters are slow, lumbering hulks who have difficulty getting in to be in range for their most damaging attacks. Alex stands out amongst most said characters in that he's pretty agile for a big guy. He could get in with his flying cross chop or his slash elbow, surprise unwary opponents with his double foot stomp, coup de grace. The guy's got an extensive repertoire of decent moves. Alex debuted in Street Fighter III New Generation. This was a very different and a very huge special debut, seeing that Alex would be the face of said new generation and the main character of the game, assuming that role over the iconic Ryu. That's quite a push for a new character, but hey, they sure picked a cool one to give it to. Jade. Like Frost mentioned on this list before her, she's yet another Mortal Kombat character that I miss so much. Granted, her exclusion from Mortal Kombat X broke my heart, I ended up still enjoying the newer characters in the game such as Kotal Kahn and Ferritor, which kinda sorta filled that void. And I know what you're thinking, oh, but what about Katana's mournful variation? Yeah. No hate towards Katana as a character, I actually think she's pretty cool in her own right, but the mournful variation was utter trash, and I hated it. Granted, when she first appeared in the Mortal Kombat series, she was the Green Lady Ninja meant to parallel her even greener counterpart, Reptile, the same way Melina did for Rain and Katana did for Sub-Zero. Over time though, her appearance developed, and if I had to pick a favorite, it would be her alternate costume in Mortal Kombat Deception. Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of that game either, but that costume rocked. It's mostly the long braided pigtails. Seriously, super cute. Also, a close second would be her Mortal Kombat 2 costume in Mortal Kombat 9. Looked hella cool and smooth if you ask me in 3D. I hate the way that sounded. Anyways, Jade also has a very admirable personality. While her sass, confidence, and ruthlessness towards evil are likable, it's her unrelenting loyalty and devotion to her best friend Katana and other allies I find the most likable. Jade is that best friend that some of us already have or that we wish we could have. Also, I shouldn't have to say it, but she's a hell of a fighter. Who wouldn't want that type of friend by your side? Her projectile invincible state known as dodging shadows is one of my favorite moves of hers. She is literally invincible to every projectile in the game except Shao Kahn's hammer in Mortal Kombat 9. Logic? She's a whiz with her staff, which can also take the form of her signature razor rings. Jade is my all-time favorite Mortal Kombat character, and I'm really wondering what's going on with her in storyline. She's seen as a ghost in Katana's Mortal Kombat X ending, and there's yet to be an explanation on why she didn't appear as a revenant in the main story. And before you scream at me, I know she's technically playable in Mortal Kombat X, the mobile game. While her design for said game is actually really nice, the fact that I don't really touch mobile games and seeing how most of them kinda are in my opinion...
Lame!
Our happiness is ours alone, but the morals and laws created by others deny us that happiness.
Win.
Relying on such power will only give rise to new evil. In the end, we must all face our demons alone.
Eliza. When the Lab Zero staff launched its Indiegogo campaign to rebound after parting ways with Konami, they presented the incentive of contributors being able to vote on what characters they wanted to see as DLC. Eliza jumped out at me instantly. Naturally, I always feel like my tastes are more in the minority, so I immediately figured she didn't stand a chance. It seemed like Ani, Isaac, B. Dahlia, who in her own right was also cool in my opinion, and freaking Stanley, they were the favorites to win and get the vote. Well, I was immensely wrong, and thank goodness. Eliza was the first DLC character to win via fan voting. As a huge Egyptian mythology enthusiast, I was hyped to see what her fighting style would be. Lab Zero did not disappoint. Fun fact, another character on this list was an inspiration for Eliza's gameplay. I'll give you a hint. Eliza's fighting style is deeply rooted in hemomancy. She calls upon various Egyptian gods from Thoth to Sobek as she summons likenesses of them formed by her own blood to attack the opponent. Eliza was initially planned to also have the ability to regain health or attack with blood that had been shed upon taking damage that would linger on the ground. This was scrapped as it was difficult to implement, seeing that she already had the gimmick of practically being two different characters, which we'll get to in a little bit. Despite how cool that idea sounds though, I'm glad it didn't make the cut. Many players already thought Eliza was overpowered enough to begin with. That ability would make her all the more crazy. Like Eno also mentioned before her on this list, Eliza doesn't hesitate to whack opponents with musical hardware. The hardware in question is Eliza's personalized microphone, the Staff of Ra. Like fellow Skullgirls character Parasol, Eliza has some backup of her own in the form of her entourage, Horus and Albus. Isn't it kinda cool how a lot of my favorite characters have similar qualities and all that? Also accompanying Eliza is a parasite that lives inside of her named Sekhmet, named after the Egyptian war goddess of the same name. This skeletal parasite is vicious and can slice through opponents' defenses with her immense and seemingly endless amount of armor. It's actually cut down based on how much meter Eliza has. And if you can't already tell, Eliza also exhibits awesomeness in her style. The ribbon wrapped around her is in the shape of an ankh. Creative! She dons a traditional Egyptian headdress as well. She's so fancy that she performs a costume change with every victory she gets depending on the buttons the player presses. Eliza's even been shown to have godlike power, assembling all the blood she collected over her long lifetime to become an enormous blood-coated monster, hell-bent on establishing her dominance. She's last seen going toe-to-toe with the fully powered Bloody Marie, and the result? It's up in the air. Regardless, even though she's been showered with gold from her staff microphone hybrid to all the things that she's gotten as a result of her singing career, Eliza's taken home even more gold, as she is my number one favorite fighting game character of all time. Well, that was my list. Who are some of your favorite fighting game characters? Also, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any ideas for top lists, feel free to put them in the comments section. Along with said request, because you all love the top list so much, as I was working on this list, I also started on 2 other top list videos. These 2 upcoming videos will be the top most savage fighting game disses and the top hilarious fighting game disses. So be sure to be on the lookout for those. I'm going to get to work on those immediately after this recording. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching this and I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that. Thank you for supporting this. And of course, I will see you all next time.